Hi everyone, in today's video I'm gonna be replacing this old radiator with new one. This is quite old, does not work properly on winter, and I'm gonna be fitting new one. So this radiator, the weight is 1000 millimeter and the height is 500, and the new radiator I'm gonna be putting is the weight is 1400 millimeter and the height is the same, 500 millimeter. It's a bit bigger and it's double radiator, double converter. So the plan is to we'll replace the TRV valve, and the other side we've got the drain plug. Later we're gonna drain the system from here. So this is getting replaced. This is getting replaced as well with new one. And as you can see, the pipes are all painted and with paint from the previous owner, so I'm gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna use this plastic push fit pipe, a lot easier to work with, and they're also for heating as well, water and heating. So probably I'm gonna cut one of the pipe maybe here, and I'm gonna desolder one of the pipe maybe here, because I'm gonna be using push fit and the distance is quite small between them. So if I put them on the same place, it might not fit. We'll see later on when I start cutting them and removing. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, first what we have to do, and it's the most important, to turn off your boiler before draining the system. As you can see, the boiler now is off. Now we can go ahead and drain the system. Okay guys, we've already turned off the boiler. Next step I need to do is open this valve and all the TRV valve in the house, because in my case it's ground floor, so I need to drain the whole system, so it will be safer for me to work. So now the hose pipe is connected. That's one side. The other side goes to the drain outside in the garden. Don't put it in your plants or something, because I have inhibitor inside the system and it's gonna kill your plants. So I'm gonna open the system, and I can hear there is a water rushing. Okay, this is outside now. As you can see, that's the other side of the pipe, and the system is draining. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna release the air on every single radiator, starting from top to bottom. Okay, how to release the pressure in your system and to make the water goes out from the system quicker is just simply put a screwdriver on here. That's a tow radiator in the bathroom. Just turn it to the left, anti-clockwise. You can see, you can hear the air rushing into the system and pushing the water out. Once you have released the air from the radiator, don't forget to turn it off. Otherwise, when you're refilling the system, it will be splashing water all over. Do this for every single radiator. That's another radiator. I'm going to be releasing the air. Okay guys, once we are happy with the draining and there is no more water coming from the pipe or just small amount, we can go ahead and turn off the drain plug and carry on with the job. Okay guys, once everything's drained from the system, now it's time to remove the radiator from the copper pipe. I have a small takeaway box just to catch any remaining water, because you never know what's left in the system, and a bigger bucket in case this is filled in. I'm gonna pour the water there, so let's go ahead and now remove it. I'm gonna be using 24mm spanner. Which doesn't want to fit really. Okay, there you go. You can see some water coming from there. So I shut off the valve on the radiator, so there is no chance water will come from the radiator, because there is always left some water in the radiator. Let me grab another spanner. This little spanner will do the job. Okay, that pipe is now disconnected. I'm gonna do the other one now. Okay, now let's do this side. Okay, there you go. This side is done as well. Now it's time to get rid of the radiator. Okay, how to get rid of the radiator? Just lift it up from the wall. There you go. Okay, right, once the radiator has been removed, now it's time to cut the pipe. So I want to avoid this bit here, so I'm going to be cutting the pipe here. I've got the straight push fit, which will connect the new pipe. So I'm planning to cut the pipe somewhere here, and I need to remove the paint first, because you can see it has quite lots of paint on there. So I'm gonna go ahead. For the job, I'm gonna be using this blowtorch to hit the paint, and should come easier than trying to scrub it with something. I'm gonna use this as well to try to clean it after that, once the paint is hot enough. I might use this also as sandpaper, just so not to break the sandpaper. I put sellotape at the back, it's more flexible. So let's go ahead and hit the pipe. Okay guys, right, what's happened now? I've cut the pipes, I've cleaned them. I had to use the blowtorch for them to weaken the paint, and then with sandpaper I clean it. I use this wire brush as well to clean them, so they're nice and clean, both of them. I'm gonna be connecting the plastic pipe which will go to the radiator with this push fit connector. And also I'm going to be fitting now on the radiator this drain of valve on one side, and on the other side will be the TRV valve. I got this from Screwfix. I think it's about £7.98, something like that, just under £8. And this is bidirection, which I don't know if you can see these two arrows. There is arrow down and arrow to the right. So that means for this TRV it doesn't matter where the flow is to the radiator. Okay, let's go down to the radiator and start fitting them. Okay, now so radiator, that's the top of the radiator. We need to remove this nut, and we're gonna be installing one of them too that comes with the radiator. That's the bleed valve, and that's just end cup, something like that. So it doesn't matter which one you're gonna put on this side, whichever suits you, whichever is easier to bleed for you. The radiator, easy access. It's pliers for here. Just grab it and turn it and remove this. Inspect the area for any paint left inside. That's fine. Right now here I'm gonna be putting this one, the bleed valve. It has a rubber seal, and you don't need to put any PTFT tape or silicone or whatever. It will seal itself when you tighten it, the rubber seal. Okay, right, just slightly need to go with this. Don't go mad with that because it's a rubber seal, and if you over tighten it, it will crack and it will leak. Leave it like that. Once the radiator is full, if it drips a bit, just tighten a bit more. Let's do the other side now. Right, now the radiator is upside down. I've done the other side, same as the drain valve, the bleed valve, sorry. So I've done the other side. So now the radiator is upside down, and I'm going to be fitting on that side the drain valve. And what we need to do, unscrew this, and this nut need to stay in when you're installing that. Don't forget the nut. That nut needs to go in. And to install that, we need an Allen key. So let me just find the Allen key. There is the Allen key, which goes on here, and you start turning. So first we need to put this one, the PTFE seal tape on the nut. I do about 15, maybe 17 turns. Okay guys, now that's the other side, where the one which goes with the TRV valve. And I did 17 turns. I'm gonna install it now. Turn it. This time I'm gonna be using a spanner, not as the previous time Allen key, a spanner. This is 16mm. Oh, actually 17. Sorry, 17. Okay, that's it. Here I'm gonna stop, and these things are done. Now here we're gonna be fitting the TRV valve. Right, now here is gonna go our TRV. We need to go that way because it's upside down. The radiator, the pipes coming from here. This needs to be facing up when you turn the radiator. I'll just protect the cup now. I'll unscrew this, insert the nut, the olive, and then this goes on there. Before I start connecting that, I'm gonna apply here a bit of this silicone. It's LSX. It's really good. I like it. Now I'm just gonna squeeze a bit. Just make sure it's not dry. Okay, that's it. Now I'm gonna go around with my finger and make sure there is inside the thread that silicone. Right, let's wipe the excess off now. This goes in here, then starting to tighten the nut. Now here we need a good grip to tie it. Right, what I do here usually, I get a cardboard or tissue, and this needs to be set to the correct depth so it grabs that. I use these pliers. Okay, all right. Now I get a tissue. I put over here to prevent it from scratching. I grab it. Next I'm gonna go with the spanner as to tie it, and holding this as well, it doesn't spin. Try to keep it as straight as possible. If you want to tie it a bit more, I got here another pliers. I'm gonna grab here and I'm gonna tie it a bit more. Okay, I think that's it. This looks pretty much straight. Okay. Right. And that side is done. Now I need to do the next side. Right guys, now it's time to fit the radiator to the wall. First, need to remove these protective caps from here. and from here. Next, the wall bracket. You can either install it that way or that way. This will stay a bit further from the wall. This is to stay closer to the wall. I'm going to be installing that way. I want it closer to the wall. So the way to do it is, if you want to be, let's say, 100 millimeter, so from the floor, your bottom part of the radiator to be 100 millimeter from the floor. You don't measure 100 millimeter for the hinge. We need to put the hinge on, so it looks like it's on the wall at the moment. Now we need to get our measurement from the bottom of the radiator to the hinge, which is 90 millimeter. So if you want the radiator to be 100 millimeter from the floor, from the ground floor, we need to go, that was 90, and 100 is 190. We need to go 190. So that's how we need to go. 90 on here and 100 millimeter on here. That's how much it will stay up from the wall. If you want to be more, then increase it. So I want to go a bit close to the ground. Probably I would do it like 80 millimeter maybe, because we got here sofa. The radiator will be covered from the sofa. The sofa is 600 high and the radiator is 500, so I want the radiator to stay pretty much on level with the sofa, because the kids like going on top on the sofa, playing, jumping, and if it's standing up slightly from the sofa, the backrest of the sofa, they might get hurt on the corner. So I wanted to keep it like a same level with the backrest of the sofa. Right, next thing to do is to plan how to install it on the wall. Right, before, when I remove the old radiator, as you can see we have wallpaper, I start pre-drilling holes in the wall to find a stud, because this is plasterboard wall, it's not a brick. So if it's brick, it's easier, you drill where you like, but just be careful there is not something behind the wall. I know there is nothing here, so I start drilling until I hit with the drill bit wood timber which goes up. So these two black dots, it's where my stud is. So I want to fit one bracket on here, because the radiator is big, it's quite heavy. Its weight on the radiator is 38 kilogram, and when you add water, and if some of the kids start climbing on top again, it's quite lots of weight to support. So if it's only plasterboard fixings, I'm not sure if it will do it. But like I said, there is a stud behind, so I'm gonna make sure one of my bracket goes on here, and when I install one on here, to get the measurement for the other one, I'm gonna go to the radiator simply and put on one side, let's see, that's the bracket where it will go. Let's see this on middle, and the other side is 120, let's say 120 centimeter. It's like 1200 millimeter from one bracket to other bracket, has to be. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead now and fit the brackets. Okay guys, now how to install the hinge. Of course need to make it level. Right, I'm gonna be using my laser level because it's a lot easier with it and I love it. So you probably have to use spirit level if you haven't got one. That's the Hooper laser level. It's been great, really like it. Right, anyway, let's go back to the hinge. Actually, it's not hinge, sorry, it's a bracket. Right. Now, right, I said I want the radiator the level with the sofa. So that probably that will be the height from the floor. That's where to stay the radiator from the floor, and from here I measure 90 millimeter. So the bottom is of my hinge, because remember from the bottom of the radiator to the hinge was 90 millimeter. So that's the bottom of the radiator. When it's on the wall, that's the bottom. That's where the hinge will start. Right, I'm gonna position the hinge up to that line, and I'm gonna make it in that way aligned as well. So do that way. Get pencil marker, mark here and here where I need to put the screws. Once you're happy, you have the radiator, everything, then you're gonna install some more screws in these locking holes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead now and fit the bracket. Okay, our next bracket is on as well. Excuse me, there was a stud here as well, so they are both really solid. Really happy with the fixing. I'm not gonna be putting here yet, in case the radiator needs to go a bit up and down. Once I'm happy with the height of the radiator, then I can put another screw on here to lock it in place, so there's no any movement in the future. Right, like I said before, from center of here to the center of here was 120 millimeter, 1200 millimeter. Sorry, right. And from there, the bracket, how to measure from the end of the bracket where it's gonna hang the radiator. From there till here, we need, as you can see, 1200 millimeter, 1.2 meter. That's where our radiator is gonna sit. Right. And I'm gonna also fit these things. I could use screws, but I use the supplied, know how that's called, bolts, or with thread in front. They're quite strong than these screws. And also this little plastic needs to go on top on here to sit on here. Don't forget them, because if you have any vibration in the radiator, you'll be hearing the noise of the bracket. But when the plastic is there, it kills the vibration. Okay, don't forget all of 4 of them you need to put. I'm gonna go ahead now and hang the radiator. Okay, let's get this big daddy on the wall. It would be good if it's 2 people, but I'm on my own, so let's give it a go. Okay, it's on. Yeah, it's better to be 2 people, but it is what it is. Alright, let's see the height from the floor. Height is 90 millimeter from the floor, and the height from the floor is 59 centimeter, 590 millimeter. My sofa was 600, so I'm happy with that. And I'm gonna go ahead and secure the brackets. Put a couple of more screws. Okay guys, right, the radiator have been fitted back on. I put another 4 of these bolts to make it more secure. Next step to do is to connect these copper pipes to the radiator. So this is the top one with the flow which goes to TRV. The bottom one goes to the other side of the radiator. Right, I'm gonna connect it. I'm gonna be using this push fit. So this is gonna go straight into that. So let me just grab a marker. And now, if you want to be sure, it's gonna go all the way in. Still about here. Our fixing needs to go. Still about here. Need to fit. So I'm gonna push this in. There we go. Our marker is covered. Right, that's in. For copper pipe, we don't need any inserts for that. Only for plastic pipe, we're gonna use these inserts. That's specially for this brand, HEP2O, for these fixings. Yeah, right. And this pipe, the flexi pipe, need to be cut on that sections. So don't use the how it comes from the manufacturer cut, because it's rough. It's It's been hit here and there. So I use these pliers. They were cheap when I bought them. They were like 7 quid. They do the job. So over there, just like push and turn it a bit, that comes off. Okay, so this insert is gonna go on here, go all the way, and that's it. Right, now this will be connected on here. So I'm gonna push this in. Oops, there is still water dripping. That's why I always have handy to have a tissue. Right, this is gonna go in, and there you go. I've heard it. Right, that side is done. Now we're gonna go to the next side. Now this side, I'm gonna be using this elbow on here to connect to the drain valve. So here I'm just not gonna just go straight, because I want this pipe to be pushed to the wall, and then I'm gonna put fixings to the skirting board. So here, when I push it and I'm happy, it's gonna stay about that. I'm going to cut this pipe on here. Okay, my pliers. Right, now here, when I connect this, it's gonna go straight under the valve. Again, very important, never forget this, otherwise you're gonna have leaks. Push it in, you're fixing. So when you put it in, this line pretty much has to be covered. I'm not gonna use pencil marker here, because so inspect also if you want the teeth inside, if they're all fine, they're not bent, any bends or something. So just push it in, and there you go. Now fixing is in. So now next job is to put another pipe from here to here. So I can use either plastic pipe, small offcut, or either copper pipe. So it's up to you as well. Okay guys, now it's time to fit the plastic to the valve. I've removed it from where I put the inside, and cause when I start to tie the nut and this is connected, it will start to twist my pipe probably, so that's why I've removed it. I've disconnected it. I'm going to insert the pipe first. That's the old pipe. I don't know if you can see, but that's the damage it did when I've taken off from here, because the only way to remove it is you're gonna need this tool. It goes in and pushes that, so it's not a problem. This is in, it's not a problem. You can push it back again, it's not gonna leak. So that's the old one, getting rid of that. Now this is gonna go on here, then our olive is there as well, and the nut. Now here again I'm gonna put on that thread a bit more of where that's gone, that silicone. Okay, like that. Right, the silicone is on. Let's put this back, push the, and start turning that. So make sure it goes properly in. Okay. Right, now let's get spanner and hold this, push this up. It doesn't slide down. So let's tie that. Okay. Don't go too mad when it's plastic fitting, because it's not as hard as the copper pipe. Right, and now the job left is to push this in. Okay, make that center. That's our line there. And there you go. It's locked. That's one side done. Now we're gonna go to the next side. Alright, now we are on another side. What we have to do again, our straight push fit. Again, you can mark here how much needs to go. About here. And again, you can inspect the teeth. Everything, make sure it's fine. And push that in until it stops. Right, this is done. Next one. Next part is, check again. This is the factor or manufacturer the cut. This is my cut. Again, the insert. So push that in, and then the pipe on here. Again, push it in until it stops. And now here we have to put our elbow. Right, the elbow will go on here like that, and we're gonna be cutting that. Let's see, it's gonna be like that. Let's see where the line is. Okay, about here. Yeah, push it if it's here. It's too far. about here. I'm gonna cut it on here. Again, our pliers. Again, measure here. Okay. Okay, that's done. Another fixing here. Another insert on here. Our will go on here. And previous time I left 3 lines. Now I'm gonna leave less, because on here, if it's too low, they're gonna be touching. This pipe will go a bit down, so they won't touch each other. Okay. I left 3 previous time. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm gonna cut 2. Let's see. With 2. Okay, so now this goes on here and push it. There you go. It locks. And that's how it will be. Okay, let's see now. Turn the pipe. Okay, so 2, that will go about here, and that to insert inside to come quite close. All right, I'm gonna go 3 lines again, because that comes too close and it won't seal it properly. Yeah, let's go for 3 lines again. 2, 3. Let's see which the manufacturer cut. This, and this is my cut. Okay. Okay. That's better. That's how it's gonna stay. Again, I'm gonna fit this first, and then I'm gonna push this in. Okay, now let's fix this. Let's fit this pipe. Right, again, the insert, the olive is there, the nut. I put silicone, push this in, and I'll start turning that. Okay, let's get a spanner a bit. Right, I'm gonna grab it now with that here, just to give a bit more support, and gonna tie this nut more. Okay, I'm not gonna go crazy with that, because it's a plastic pipe, and this is done. Right, next job is to push this in. The insert is there. And there you go. Done. Then just need to put the TRV on top, and pretty much that's done. Now it's time to fill the system and to see if there is any leaks. Fingers crossed there is not. Okay guys, I've just noticed when I finish that I get it totally wrong, and the problem was I forgot installing one of these fittings, one of these inserts on this pipe here. I've installed on there the metal one, I installed on here, but I forgot here on top, which I'm gonna get leaks if I don't install one of these. Now I have to do this again. Open this, take that out. So see, the olive is there. I forget to put here insert. If it goes in, good. If it doesn't, because of the olive, it won't. So I need to take off this and put new plastic with fitting. Oh, it is. You live and learn. Okay guys, almost done. This side is being done as well, so I've opened I've removed it, I put the insert back on. One thing I want to mention, before you go to turn on the water, shut off this valve here, this on top, shut it off because it's always open. When you start refilling the system, if you're upstairs your boiler, you'll be splashing water here until we are back to check it if there is any leaks. That's one thing to remember. Next one, in your blade valve, make sure this is off as well, and I always put this to point out, not towards the wall, because when I start bleeding it will make the wall wet, and it's a lot easier to hold here with tissue, and when it starts dripping just shut it off. So remember this to be off, this off, and the next thing is now to put on the TRV. How to do it? Make it that way so it's visible for you. This need to slot it in, and then turn the nut until it's locked, and now it's open. That is shut, so I'm gonna keep it shut, that one, and that one as well, it's off as well. So there, when I turn on the water from the boiler to fill the system, water will only come up to here, it won't go in the radiator. So in that case, if I got any leaks and I need to drain again the system, I'm not going to be draining the radiator. First I'm checking this up to there, that valve, and then up to that valve. That valve is shut as well, so any water comes here. If that's all fine in a few minutes, then I will open the radiator and let the water go in, and to check for any further leaks. Okay, let's go to the boiler and start filling the system. Okay guys, I've just realized when I forgot to put insert here, and I had to open it again, take it off, and I put one of these inserts, but actually when that's not the right insert for there, it's one of these without the ring, because basically what happened is when the insert is inside and I tie the nut and the olive compresses here to seal it, it might damage the ring. But if I have any problems and leaks, I'm gonna replace it with that one. That's the right one to use for that. That's for the push fit fixings. Okay guys, now we are back to the boiler, and boiler is still off as we turned it off earlier. That's still off. What we have to do first is, right, I'm not sure if you can see here down is the gauge which measures the pressure. As you can see, is currently on 0. Alright, once we start filling the system from here, the water will open that valve, the water from here will go to the system. So I'll turn this on. You can hear the water is going in the system now. Make sure before you do that you shut off every radiator when you bleed them. Now we're gonna go back. I'm gonna let a bit of water to go in, and I'm gonna go to the radiator we were working on. Okay, I'm back to the radiator. As far as I can see, there is no leaks. Right, on that side nothing, and here nothing. So we remember we shut off these valves. The water can only come up to here. It still doesn't go to the radiator. The water is still running upstairs where the boiler is. So until we reach 1.5 bar, after that we are fine. We will start to bleed them, but let's go back to the boiler. Okay, back to the boiler. As you can see, our gauge is moving slowly because I release the water. Let's put more water in to speed the flow. The flow. As you can see, it's rising up. Okay, now it's on 1 bar and keep going up. The best is about 1.5. That's always how I leave it, 1.5 bar. I'm gonna leave it for a few more seconds and I'm gonna go downstairs again to check the radiator and for any leaks. If there is no leaks, I'm gonna start to bleed the radiator. See you in a bit. Okay, I waited till it reached 1.5 bar. So far, no leaks. On here, all dry. On the other side as well, no leaks. Now I'm gonna let the water go in by opening this valve. You can hear it, how it's rushing. Now is the most important, to not have any leaks. Because these things are cheap and the leaks are expensive. Okay, it's fully open. So far okay. Again, now we need to bleed the radiator. I'm gonna open that side as well. Stop, then I'm gonna go a bit backward and that's it. Okay, so far so good. Right, let's bleed now the radiator. How to do it? Get screwdriver in, turn it. You can hear the air. And you're waiting until the water start to come out. Okay, still waiting. Again, once we bleed the radiators, the water pressure will drop and we'll have to refill again. We keep doing that until all the air is gone from the system. It's a big radiator, so it takes time. Hopefully it will heat better than the old one. I think I bought it £134 at the time of the video. Should be almost full now. So far no leaks, which is good. There is the water. Okay, a bit messy, but we'll wipe it off. All right, now let's check again for leaks. Okay, that's wet here because of the bleeding when it starts splashing water, but I'm gonna wipe it off. Let's check the other side. Okay, this side is good as well. So far nothing here down where the tape we applied. Yeah, all dry. Nothing here. I'm not too concerned. These things are really good. I've used quite a lot of them. Yeah, there no so far no any issues. And that's it pretty much, guys. I'm gonna bleed the rest of the radiators. You know how it's done. And once we bleed them, we're gonna refuel the system again, keep it around 1.5 bar. And again, thanks very much for watching. I hope you found something helpful. It's quite a long video, but I've tried to show everything I could. Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm not professional or something. And thanks very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.